Anarchy is an unpreferable word to describe the state of nature. Nature is nature, just as freedom is freedom, and those concepts shall override this notion of archanism as a whole, the notion of with or without rulers, if to rid of archanism's dominative existence. If something has never truly naturally existed or created optimal environments in nature, its debate whether it should exist or not is irrelevant, as belief is irrelevant. Only knowledge and matters of nature are relevant, so that the falsities are crowded out. This also means that the knowledge of nature speaks for itself in regards to respecting all human opinions, not letting certain opinions rule over others, knowing that nature is the answer, not man or his creations, unless they abide to nature first. This isn't meant to be necessarily fully understood, but a greater understanding provides greater perspective. Certain things are not meant to be known, as time moves all truths into reality, yet nothing is new under the sun. Certain things, the most basic of things, shall be the most known, and this constitutes our simple nature, our true nature. If anarchy is simply descriptive for nature, in reality, I would advise those who know of this reality to speak solely of reality or nature. There was no different state or condition with a title for when the first abolition of slavery ended. The only thing that changed was widespread knowledge defeating a false, long-held belief system. Freedom and nature you were born with, and so is anarchy. Thus, if it weren't for anarchy, you wouldn't have government or any form of slavery. The question is what controls this freedom, from chaoticness to order and justice, and thus the emphasis on human morals and natural law or a fundamental understanding of conscience and statism is required. An understanding of external anarchy and internal monarchy is required. Just as it was for the first abolition of slavery, it shall be evermore in freeing human beings destined to be free, destined to be harmonized optimally to nature. Nature is by no means a utopia, and by no means all chaos. It is perfectly imperfect, and provides the space for learning all about all, as nature is all. There is nothing to do in this regards other than stop participating in something unnecessary, unnatural, and harmful or immoral. Nothing to add new to society or force upon an happening, only education so that the unnatural systems that be do not sustain itself in circulation, as the real education of natural systems that be sustain in circulation. Few anarchists actually understand this, and thus I refrain from using the word, because of not only the faulty perception without what I spoke of, but also the lack of definition used for the word anarchy, the different forms created with no emphasis on underlying natures, the bad connotations with it throughout time, and the lack of connectivity it has, as well as the need for new universal innovations. When it comes to nature, both science and religion were to study such. All peoples instinctually have a care for it. It connects to all things. It's been striven for in understanding morals, health, rights, all things through all the generations, never seen as bad, as it is ever seen as essential, unless one believes they can dominate over nature with no care. To go against aspects of nature can thus be intuitively correlated with an attack on nature. An attack on human nature is an attack on nature as a whole. This may be seen as the magic of utilizing nature as the answer, the movement that I created on behalf of recognizing our inherent sovereignty. The goal is so that the people of the world realize that they themselves are inhabitants of nature, that their actions and thoughts, they are the question, while nature is the answer, that they are free, always have been, and simply need to align all their actions to such notions. Anarchy as a term doesn't deal with justice or order, but it does open the door for it. If it just means freedom by nature or reality, it is still up to beings to fulfill what must be done in society. Labor continues in its fullest, yet in its most natural forms and in many different forms. You can also have people practicing all sorts of different belief systems and hierarchies, as long as it's completely voluntary and not backed by violence as it would be under statism. If it is any present, the knowledge in circulation with the world, including the self-defense and non-aggression principles, will keep things in order. But again, that extends the idea of anarchy for true sustainable conditions. Thus, a holistic understanding is that of knowing anarchy in principle or natural law. For if one even seeks to attain anarchy or the state of nature, one must uphold these ideas first and foremost, as by also the very definition of principle. And we all live by different principles within our own lives. Since most fake anarchists do not recognize this, a real anarchist identifying themselves directly as a sovereign natural human being can. And they help their case much simply by how they introduce and identify themselves. An idea is dependent on a person. All ideas and all persons are dependent on nature. Nature holds it all. It is all, and thus it is the most important. Get to the roots, literally, and it can help bridge many gaps in all places, as the roots extend far and ground in place, searching for life, maintaining all life. Thank you for listening. Do listen.